Hi everyone, it's the Psychic Sleuth, and I'm back. Sorry that this is kind of dark. I have a really crappy camera, and I have every light in my house on, but it doesn't look like it on here. Actually, it looks lighter whenever I'm recording it. But anyways, I know, as most of you guys know, I wasn't going to work on Delphi anymore. But today, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me to do it. There was a reason I wasn't working on Delphi, and that was the fact that I was being attacked in my sleep, I was being attacked in my life, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I also want to mention that when I did auto rights, I got multiple cases. So I keep telling you guys this because everybody thinks that everything I got belonged to Delphi. It did not, including the sketches that I did might not even belong there. I might have been seeing that guy that I had a sketch drawn because he's connected, or because there's another case he's connected to. I know that I saw him very strongly, so he is important. Also, like I said, the auto rights I did not realize at the time that I was getting multiple cases. I thought I was just channeling Abby and Libby. But now we know that I am an open channel. Even in my readings now, I get interconnects and other cases come in. So it's even worse whenever I do an auto right and I'm an open channel and I'm just typing. That's why I decided to do random auto rights, so that I wasn't focused on anything. I was just letting come through whatever, and whatever cases wanted to come through were being heard. So random auto rights, many cases. Delphi auto rights, many cases. You kind of have to pick and choose what's going to fit with Delphi. So I decided, since everybody was asking me, I wanted to do one more last reading. This is going to be my very last reading on Delphi. I'm sorry, but I just can't chance it with what's going on in my life right now and what's going on in my life. It's just too dangerous for me. I don't know if I got too close or what it was, but my life hasn't been the same since I did these readings. If you watch, I always tell people to watch the Ramirez testimony on YouTube. He talks about how Satanism uses black witchcraft, uses black magic, uses demons and all that to make people sick, to attack them, to really screw up their life. And I feel like demons that protect the Delphi case. If you notice, there's a lot of darkness around it, a lot of evil that happened. The people involved, they're evil. The situation's evil, and even it has caused so much drama that causes evilness. So with that being said, I just want to stay away from it. As much as I would like to help Libby and Abby, I told them I would do one more last reading, and I tried to make it as focused as possible. Again, like I said, one more last reading. I wanted to do something focused, and I wanted to give the girls their voice. But this will be the last reading on them as far as I know. There were reasons I stopped, and I'm reading this because, like I said, because the case is protected by demons, I can't be attacked in my sleep or in my life. Like I said, I also posted the Auto Right 10, which was released as a podcast only, but also posted in the group. But not much of it seems to pertain to Delphi. A lot of it seems to pertain to Molly and other cases. So it was posted in the group back in March in 2018. So I just wanted to put it out there so that it was be on my YouTube channel as well. I did realize way after the auto rights, like I said, weren't just Delphi. Also, many cases, past, present, and future, all mixed in together. So, not all right. All these auto rights are going to fit Delphi. As I've tried to explain a lot since I found out, this reading I did was very focused, however. Some names and stuff may not fit, but remember, names can be first, middle, last, nicknames, or connections, even related businesses or streets, so keep that in mind. I also get past, present, and future. But as I said, this reading was very focused. It was not an auto right, but I did get a lot of stuff that I got in my auto rights to kind of validate. So this was focused reading with one of my teammates that I did in my group. Yes, I know things from 2 years ago. I will try not to let it lead me in any way, but as I always say, what I get. If they show it to me, I'm going to say it. I will never lie and just say something that I know or info that was released or told to me or whatever. If I say it on this channel or to you guys, it is because they showed it to me and told it to me. This reading was done October 15, 2019, so tonight, for Abby and Libby, the final reading. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. These are just my psychic medium impressions. As I will get repeated stuff, and it sucks because I know what really happened from prior readings, and whatever, and it looks like they're starting from the beginning. Lebby is always really strong. So they take me to that day, and they show me where they were walking this bridge. And kind of looking at their phones, snapping pictures, laughing, kind of just having fun, as I call them sisters because that's how they portray themselves. Their connection is very close to one another. Libby is texting someone, I'm not sure who, I think it's a boy. They're just here and there that she's sending, random texts. But she liked to take pictures and draw, very much artsy girl. Also, we know the sports were her thing too, and they were both talented in a wide variety of areas. And I get writing, I don't know if it's poetry as well, but it looks like she had a journal and that she wrote things down in songs, maybe too. So I get the word sinister and I start to feel anxiety. I think it was a bit chilly, not too cold, but there was a chilly breeze. And I hear the bridge creak under their feet because it's old. And I get a reference to someone watching with binoculars. And I hear footsteps behind them that are bigger, louder sounding. Then when a boot steps on a bridge and how it sounds. Girls speed up. At the same time, this is when Libby turns and snaps a picture. As I'm typing this, I sort of see Libby, grab Abby's arm and hold her close. And she's talking to her in whispers, just about walking faster, not to look behind her. She says, just keep going, don't look behind. Felt like she grabbed the sleeve of her shirt. Libby was always looking out for Abby. But Libby snaps a picture because she feels weird about it. We know that she was very smart and quick to act on her feet. She wanted to go into some type of law enforcement, so that mentality I get reference to shows that she watched. So, yes, I know this has been released and talked about, I think, but this is what she's telling me. I don't know, this is where it gets kind of tricky. So, because all of a sudden I don't see them behind her anymore, but there's someone in front of them. I get a reference to 2. I hear the word payback, not random. Here my dad knows them. Here there was threats. Feel very much as I have in the past, and that this was a hit. They knew the girls were going to be there. I can only think there are 2 men. I don't know, I feel surrounded in a sense. It's not like the guy ran at them. All of a sudden there was someone in front of them. Hard to explain because it's not like the guy behind them could go off the bridge. Maybe just their attention switched because if it was the beginning, he would have went down and around like the beginning of the bridge. But I'm trying to get a clear on if it was 2 or what, because now she shows me like she wasn't there anymore, like he wasn't there anymore, sorry, and then someone was in front. So it could be just the change in focus. Head hurting on the left side, trying to zoom in on what they look like. Now, nobody freak out. I did hear this, and I tried not to hear it. But I do know that back in my auto rights, I got Nicole Bowen's information before she ever went missing, 2 years before. I've also since then done a channel on her that I have been validated by family members that is accurate. So, I do know that there's a connection to this guy to Libby's dad. I also know there's a connection to him kind of being upset over something. So, I try not to let it lead me, and I kept asking the girls if it was right. They kept saying it was. So, I did hear Kurt's. And as I'm typing this, I'm starting to wonder if there was 3. Because I kept seeing a curly brown hair, kind of like the sketch. I just kept seeing it. And I kept saying, no, no, no. But this was as I was typing things up, not during the reading. So it was interesting. But just have to say, it kept coming in as I was typing it. So there's possibly 2, maybe 3 men. Because I was seeing 3 different guys. So during the reading was 2, but they're now showing me this curly brown hair. It's a lighter color brown. He feels like an off kind of person. Some kind of kin to the older male. Like brother, nephew, somebody like that. Or son, nephew, someone like that. Just feel like the man on the bridge does not match who I'm seeing now. So 3 different people was what I was being shown. Meaning more than one person. A younger male that honestly looks like Kurt's. A reference to drugs and money owed and snitching. A link back to Gabriel for some reason. Whether it's by association or what. I get a reference to boots with ridges and jeans. All of them kind of wearing the same thing. Or should I say, all of them wearing similar clothes or the same thing, because as I'm typing, I see that it's meticulously planned. I get a reference to dark eyes, brown, almost black. A reference to lighter eyes, and they're wearing hats pulled down to sort of cover their face. I get a reference to him being dressed the same or similar. Sorry, you said that again. It came in twice. Reference to knee injury in the older male, and I get the word surrounded. Get a reference to one popping up in front of the girls saying, "Hey, I'm wondering if the curly-haired male is a lookout, as I didn't see him with the two later on or going down the hill. This is the only time I saw him." Again, feels kinship to the older male. Like I said, a brother, a son. I think it's like an older son or someone that's like a son to him. Because the connection or how they connect would come in. Just like I say, Abby and Libby are like kind of connect like sisters. This could be someone that connects like to a son to him, or feels like a son to him. Libby and Abby are sort of frozen as they don't know what to do. I feel a presence step behind them, and this is the man has a knife. I get a reference to a gun too, so I don't know if they were just carrying it or it was used to control by one of the other men. Off to my left, there's a little trail, sort of steep. I get a reference to walking down sideways and dirt falling. The younger man is in front, the older man behind them, so they are in between the two. "Follow us and we won't hurt you," they say. "But we have a message for your daddy." I see Abby and Libby sort of trip a bit. I get a reference to tumbling. This is where it's the same thing I saw before. I get a reference to Libby picked up. So I see Libby sort of trip, and I get a reference to tumbling. I get a reference to Libby being picked up by the arm by one of the men, and she kicks and fights her way free. She runs to Abby. She takes off one way, and Abby takes off the other. One man goes after Libby, the other after Abby. There's a reference to Libby falling and messing her ankle or something over a branch. They both are taken back to one another roughly. Now this is where it gets tricky, because I'm trying to see if they were killed in the woods or brought back. "Girls, don't try that again or you'll be sorry," they say. At the same time, Libby is already aware of what the plan is for them. She's begging them, they both are, and they're told to shut up. I get a reference to twigs and branches, leaves, and running water that is walk through. I hear the crunching as they're walking through the forest. I don't know if there's a barn type area or some type of building that looks like it, wherever it's not far and no one is home or is aware. Because I get a reference to big barn doors and a loft at the top, and even hay inside. I see more stuff as I'm reading this. So I get a reference to being tied up until nightfall, and the men were kind of waiting things out because I guess maybe they knew they'd come looking for them or something. But this is why the girls were not found sooner, and were not in the area when checked prior. When it gets nightfall and it's much colder, they have their hands tied with rope. They walk them back to the woods. Girls are cold, tired, scared, and exhausted. There's a reference to pictures being taken by the men. They took pictures of them alive and past, I guess, to show proof, but also for souvenirs. It's going to get brutal now. I'll be as gentle as I can, because I've seen their passings before in my earlier auto writes that ends up matching what happened. So it's going to match, but they're going to go over it again to validate. So there's a reference to, I think, Libby being killed first and Abby having to watch. I think that's the way it went, as I don't feel Abby passed right away. There's a reference to a garrote and also a knife, and a reference to Libby's throat. And I see her, because I with the garrote, and I'm not just saying that because that's come out, I see him kind of putting it around his hand like this, okay, grabbing each end and putting it around his hand, and I'm seeing that as I'm reading this to you guys. I keep getting more as I'm reading it, more visuals, so I see it kind of going around his hand and it tightening it, and then coming up behind her. So, and then there's a reference to a knife, so then there's a reference to, like I said, Libby's throat. I see her against a tree. There's a reference to Abby and her heart and a knife. And then there's that stabbing up and down motion that I got before. I hear her gurgling, and blood fills up in her throat, and it's cold. And I kind of see like her head kind of move over and she's just looking. I don't know. Okay, so I feel that the girls are close to one another as Abby is dragged over by Libby or put over by Libby. This was a message. This was payback and a message. Both have killed before, so this is why I consider them serial killers. And I know they will kill again, would kill again, because the girls are a mess to clean up, and they were told. Both seem to have brown tint to hair and on the longer side. The older man is darker brown, like regular brown, and looks like the younger is a reddish brown color. My keyboard was messing up at this time, and the girls had issues with their phones. The older man has wider shoulders, maybe about 240. I'm not that great at weight. And height was 5'10". I'm getting around 5'10". I'm getting chills in my head at this time. Girls are very strong. Finally happy that it's all being clear. I get a reference to the drug trade and family member pissing them off. I also get higher people in pockets of the people behind this. I get a reference to this being a strong message to Derek, and Derek knows he got the message. I really think Kurtz is the younger man because I keep getting a reference to him. The more I try to see about the younger man, the more I see him and the reference to Bowens. I think Nicole knew. I just don't think he's being tied to it. He knew the area. He knows Derek. I think I get family ties as I did before. I get a reference to a loud truck, white, that the older male drives. And they keep repeating Garrett. Now, older man, let me see if I can get more on him and his name. I don't really think the sketches are totally accurate, but maybe not that far off. I get a reference to horses again, like someone works around horses. Interesting, because that would connect Kurtz and his dad. I get a reference to the name Charlie or Charles, sharp pain in my chest. That name has come through a lot in the past as well. There's a name like Hornsby, Hornsby, or Hornsbee. Hornsby, something like that. I get like the dirty work, and also a reference to both just doing black magic, just evil stuff. There's a reference again to Kurtz licking a knife with a blood on it, like I saw with Nicole, the satanic thing. I saw that in her auto write in the group. Not sure I want to release it. It's pretty brutal. I don't think, plus I want to be, nice to the family and everything. I don't really think they have evidence to tie him. I ask if they're sure about this. And I hear both the girls say yes together. They said it together. So I said, interesting. I got the name Ashley. I heard it. Because I'm trying not to be led, but I heard it in my head like I do with all my readings. So we know that that's Kurt's girlfriend name, but I heard it loud and clear. They gave me the initials GK. They just kept throwing it at me, and I just kept seeing it. So I also get a reference to carving in a tree. I don't know if that's his initials or what in the tree, but I'm trying to get more on this other psycho, trying to get more on the guys and their names at this time. I get a reference to a slaughterhouse, but I don't know if that's just because it's close by or someone that slaughters, or he may work on a farm or something like that. Or it's just kind of like a symbolic thing. There's a reference to the name Todd. I've gotten that before in one of my pull and randoms list. The more I try to get names, the more I can pull in other cases. So I try not to do that. Like if I try too hard to do that. I don't know if this is going to connect. It may be a connection or something. But the name's Samantha. Okay, the older guy. I see him with a toothpick in his mouth. Voice has an older twang. His face is sinister looking. He's a cleaner, a hitman, whatever you want to call him. I can kind of see him very clearly, but at the same time, he's hard to describe. This is why I fear like it might not get solved in a way this was a hit. There's a reference to a ring again, or that he or someone connected to wears on his left hand. I think it's bigger, and there's a bigger watch, which I've seen before. I get a reference to one of the girls' earrings for some reason. Him cutting off a piece of hair, keeping it as trophies. I've gotten that before. Then he holds in some sort of briefcase or lockbox. Just doing his job, not even a flinch, no remorse, kind of teaching Kurtz, or kind of teaching people. I keep doubting, I keep doubting that, because it's just like, what? Like, this is what I thought the whole